Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Friends, before I start the talk today, I would like to mention that today is the 16th April, and on the 14th, 13th and 14th, it is the really Sri Lankan New Year. So for all who are here, Sri Lankans, I would like to wish even the others, of course, a very happy and peaceful and healthy New Year from starting from the 13th to the 14th. Right. So this Saturday, that is the 16th April, we hope to look at the Ahara or nutrition. Now that is a very, I think, topic that everybody would, I think, respond to. So that is why I chose this topic. There are 4 ahara or nutrients as causes and conditions necessary for our existence and continuity. You know, we are born into the world, we need nutriment. To go on living, we need nutriment again, right? So let us see. The Buddha shows the importance and need of nutrition when he says, Sabbe satta aharatthitika. You might have heard this also. It means all beings are maintained by nutriment. The Buddha's analysis of nutrition into 4 types shows that the laws that govern nutriment can serve our physical and mental needs. Now, these are the 4 that Buddha has given. The first one is edible food. That is the food we eat or drink, right? And that is called Kabalinka Ahara in Pali. Then the second one is contact by the senses. So that they are called sense impressions. And in Pali, they are called Passahara. Passa Ahara. Then the third one is volitions. That is called, volitions means intentions, right? Mano Sanchetana Ahara. And the fourth one is consciousness. That is Vijnana Ahara. Now, out of these 4, today I can only discuss 2 of them, the first 2. These 4 are closely connected, but they range from the coarsest, that is the roughest, to the most subtle. All 4 nutrients condition the conditioned. That is, when any of the conditions such as ignorance, avidya, exist, right? And we all have it, right? All have ignorance or avidya in us. Then, depending on them, that is the avidya or any other of such nature, other states like the karmic formations. Now, according to the karmic formations, what happens? The body and the mind comes. They arise, right? So that is why the Buddha says that these are the condition, they are the 4 nutriments condition the conditioned. right? All conditioning forces exist, for example, due to ignorance. Though other contributing factors too may be added later, like karma and so many other, wholesome, unwholesome karma, exact, and things like that. The Buddha says that, in one sutta in the Samyutta Nikaya, the Buddha says this has come to be. Here, this refers to the 5 aggregates, the 5 aggregates, Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana. Form, feelings, perceptions, volitional formations, and consciousness. These 5 aggregates are what the Buddha talks as this. This has come to be. And they have arisen due to previous karma plus nutriment. So these two together have formed this body and mind. And when there is no nutriment, they cease or fade away. If there is no nutriment, right? If there is no food, what happens? This body dies, right? So nutriment is a very important factor. In the Samyutta Nikaya, it is stated that these 4 nutriments help to maintain the beings that have already appeared in the world. That is, people like us, not only we, but the animals too, right? All that have appeared in this world. And those that may appear in future. So, for the ones that are already here and the ones that are to come. After rebirth, all beings are engaged in a continuous struggle to obtain physical and mental nutriment, right? So when once they are born into the world, what do? They have to continue a struggle, right? To study, to get a job, to buy things, to go to the stores, it's a struggle. So to obtain what? Physical and mental nutriment, both in the present life and in future lives. Hunger is the cause for nutrition. From birth until death, the body craves for material food. When food is eaten, what was earlier thought as external becomes absorbed into the body so that it becomes internal. What we take in from the external becomes internal once it's taken inside. It's identified as one's personality. But everything that we eat is not digested, and some particles remain in our intestines, so that constantly there is taking and also rejecting, becoming part of one and separating. So when we examine this action, we see how the same food that nourishes the body can destroy it too. When food gets stuck inside and putrefy or gets rotten, the body sickens and smells cause much discomfort and humiliation. Not only that, many kinds of, pains, and then you have to go to the doctor. Sometimes you have to get operations done. All kinds of things happen when the food does not get digested properly. We can learn the 3 characteristics of existence, that is impermanence or anicca, unsatisfactoriness or suffering, that is dukkha, non-self or anatta, from nutrition. Though we eat 3 times a day, still we get hungry and wish to eat or drink. Isn't that dukkha and impermanence? Among animals, it's quite common for the stronger to prey on the weaker. One day I was watching the geographic channel, and I saw, of course it was a little repulsive, but I saw a snake, that is a cobra, big cobra, devouring another reptile. And it was not a very pleasing sight. Anyway, that is what happens with the in the animal world. So human beings breed animals for consumption too. The food has no self, but when we consume it, it becomes our self. Though we do not realize it, even vegetarians can be made accountable for killing little creatures like worms and snails, etc., who also come in search of food. For the farmer has to destroy them to keep the vegetables and fruits safe for us. With the increase in population and the need to grow more food, forested areas are cleared, thus taking away the space set aside for wildlife. Ahara, or material food, is necessary to survive in Kamaloka, or the world we live in. This is a Kamaloka, right? Devaloka is also a Kamaloka, but different from this. It's not necessary in Deva worlds, for their, for their bodies are very subtle, and their food is also subtle. So they don't have to struggle and find this kind of coarse food like we do. Craving for food will result in rebirth in Kamaloka. And one may end up in the ghost realm, that's also part of Kamaloka, or animal realm, if one is reluctant to share or has excessive craving for food. This is due to not understanding the Dhamma, especially dependent origination or paticca samuppada. Those who cultivate human and deva qualities, that's also sankhara, like to enjoy sense pleasures, but they are not excessively greedy. They are content with what they get and like to share whatever is in excess. Now, friends, I like to tell you a story that happened here in the US. Though there's another similar Buddhist sutta in the Samyutta Nikaya given as a simile. Now that is of course just a simile, not a true story. This is a story that is true, that happened here. So I took this story because I thought you might be more interested in this than the story in the simile actually in the Samyutta Nikaya, that is called Puttamansa Sutta. Now that is, the Buddha gave that simile to show or to explain how we should look at food. So this story you might have heard before, but anyway, I thought it might interest you. This is called the Donner Party. In 1800, people moved from the east to the west in search of prosperity and a new life. At that time, traveling was not easy because there were no proper roads. And many families went together in wagons. When winter came, they were stranded. You know, this particular party was stranded, and they had exhausted their supply of food. Still, they were a long way from their destination. That was the west coast, right? Some of them died through starvation or sickness, and the rest survived by eating the dead bodies of their friends. Did they like this food? Did they enjoy it? No. But in order to survive, they had no alternative but to resort to cannibalism. So, when we look deeply into the similes of the Buddha too, we see that Buddha is showing us how we could transform our likes and dislikes and eat the food without greed and desire, without choosing. You know, we normally choose this against the other, right? Without consuming greedily and quickly, without selfishness or delusion about what is eaten, and without longing to eat such food again. Perhaps if you like something, if you are eating something that you like, you might want to, or you might think, I like to eat it again, right? Not like that, not to think like that. Without hoarding, without pride or scorn or quarreling. Also, we could change our pain into happiness. The pain of not having what we want, disliking what we have, and so on, you know, pain. So that we can turn into happiness, because after all, this is going to be, absorbed into the body, and I will get the nutrition I want. That's all that is necessary. In the desert of life, food has been the main concern, and often in this search for food, human beings have destroyed the environment and even one's dear and near and fellow beings. The Buddha says, when this nutriment of edible food is fully understood, that is not partly understood the way we do, but fully understood, desire and lust for it will be given up. We will not long for good food or any food, right? Not that we are not going to take food, we will take it, but reasonably, knowing what it is. This nutriment, the nutriment itself, right, what we are taking, the food, tongue sensitivity and the 4 elements come together when we eat, right? The food is also an element, not one element, but all 4 elements. Here also there is, there are the 4 elements. So the elements come together. Then one sees the 3 characteristics of impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and non-self. If we look at it properly, mindfully, we will see these 3 things in the food that we take. Instead of, going on thinking, this is very tasty or this is not tasty and this and that, right? This knowledge causes one to abandon the desire and lust for nutrition. Looking at the food on the table or in front of us can be an insightful meditation. Even if the food is not what we want or what we like, it will help us to nourish our body. We could think of all the conditions that helped to put the food on the table. It didn't come to the table, just by itself, by magic. We could think, of the farmer who grew the food, the driver of the truck who brought it to the shop or to us, the shop itself, the people who served at the shop, whoever cooked the food, the sunshine that is necessary for the food to grow, rain, water, etc. When you are fully aware of what you put into your mouth and the energy that you generate to chew the food or drink the water, etc., you are living in reality. That means with mindfulness, which is a very strong ingredient when you think about the food, right? Just like the food itself, the mindfulness, if you can put into the food, then it becomes real. You are living in reality. This is putting the Dhamma into practice. This is a powerful meditation. For normally, all of us exist on food, and we like to eat tasty and choicy food. When we look at food analytically, mindfully aware, with Dhamma in our heart and mind, every time we see food, we lose that urge for tasty food. This will be a great improvement in our lives and a source of liberation from suffering. Because if we, go on thinking, this is not food that I like, this is not what I want, we are just suffering, isn't that so? But if our sentiments change, then there won't be any suffering. What the Buddha advised as a middle way is to be moderate in eating with non-attachment to the taste of food and wise reflection on nutriment. Here, I like to bring up about our eating habits. There is a popular concept in the world called intermittent fasting. You might have come across that in the internet perhaps, which is not new to Buddhism. This has been there in among the Buddhist monastics, especially, and also among lay people who follow the Dhamma. This fasting is part of their, daily life. The Buddha says, most of you eat 3 times a day, right? 3 meals a day. Even if you are not hungry, and this may cause different ailments, as I said earlier. The Buddha says that he eats at a single session, 1 meal a day, and so is free from illness and affliction and enjoy lightness, strength, and comfortable abiding. That means he has enough strength and vigor to do all the work that he did, and also, no sicknesses as such, because he eats only once a day. All monastics are prohibited from eating from noon until the following dawn. And some follow the Buddha and eat only once among the monastics. This intermittent fasting has many positive results, like weight loss, preventing obesity, hypertension, lowering blood pressure, cholesterol, and diabetes. This fasting will be profitable also for you. You will not be spending on a meal in addition to being healthy. In the field of nutriment, contact or sense impressions are called passa ahara in Pali. Now, this is the second analysis of the Buddha. I'm taking only these two. Passa means contact and ahara means nutriment. Contact is a mental phenomena and the mind craves for new sense impressions and ideas and thoughts. This is a truth that leads to the root of all existence. From the time that we are born, we look for nutriment of contact too. Now see, when the baby, as soon as it is born, when the baby touches the mother, that contact is itself something that gives the baby security and happiness, right? So every time it wants it, starts crying, and then the mother takes it. So often people can be changed for better or worse by their intake of ideas, and finally those same ideas absorb them and consume them. You might have seen that happening in the world, right? When the mind comes across an object, the first response is the perception. When you come across something, you see and you recognize it, right? That is the first thing. Then comes intention, followed by desire. These effects result in feelings or sensations that are pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. These are the three forms of feeling. In dependent origination, it is given, or paticca samuppada, it is given as passa paccaya vedana, vedana paccaya tanha, which means dependent on contact, feeling arises, and dependent on feeling, craving arises. Can you see how these are connected? This means food for the senses. Just as for edible food, for contact too, the Buddha uses a disturbing visual image. Here, a skinned cow. The cow's skin has been removed so that it's exposed to the environment. So a skinned cow is unable to avoid all the pests that come to disturb and nibble at her wherever she goes, whether it's near a wall, a shade of a tree, running water, like a stream or a river. If it goes in there, the little fish and all that lives in there in the river will come and nibble at her. So, or exposed to the open air, wherever she goes, she will be eaten up. Just as the cow, seeing the danger of being bitten by the creatures when she is exposed to the environment, so a bhikkhu or bhikkhuni or a layperson, seeing the danger in being attached to taste, appearance, sound, odor, or touch, becomes desireless towards contact. But when one does not fully understand nutrition, now if one understands, one can get rid of that desire. Not that the person does not take food. The person will take food and also taste it and know that it is good or bad, but not have that pain of disliking, or if you like it also, then there is still another pain of taking too much of it, or not digesting it and so on. So but when one does not fully understand nutrition, lust arises for the sensuality in food, that is taste due to tongue sensitivity. Taste comes because of the tongue sensitivity. The bright appearance of the food creates lust for the visual object. Now, if it's something beautiful, like a nice apple or whatever, you want to take, then you take a liking for that appearance. When chewing hard food like nuts, there is a sound and one enjoys the sound. The smell of the food could create lust for the odors. And when enjoying the softness of the food, there is lust for the touch. Suffering comes to one who is attached to them. But human beings long for sense impressions, even if they cause pain. They hunger for new experiences. This attachment and longing results in re-becoming, and that is called bhava tanha. Though tanha or craving is not the only cause for rebirth, it is the most immediate cause. And this thirst arises out of ignorance and the false idea of a self. That is because you want to, give happiness to this self. According to Buddha, all the troubles and strife in the world, starting from little personal quarrels in families to great wars between countries and nations, arise out of this sense of selfish thirst. From this point of view, all economic, political, and social problems are rooted in this selfish thirst or craving. We expect to find complete happiness through the fulfillment of our desires. The Buddha says, I do not see even one other fetter. Now, the fetters are called samyojana in Pali, by which beings are so fettered or bound that they wander and are reborn for a long time in different forms as the fetter of craving. The stronger the craving, the harder it is to escape from Kamaloka, that is the sensuous realm. Our living is two-sided, enjoying the pleasurable and avoiding the disagreeable. Actually, the pleasure that we feel about things is not a part or quality of these sense objects. Right? There is nothing called pleasure in the apple or the banana or the, I'm just taking some fruits, right? Or it could be even a house or whatever you have a liking for. It's not there, but comes from our feeling for them. That's how the pleasure comes, or the displeasure. One drawback of sense pleasures is that they always do not fulfill our aims. If the craving becomes a strong force it may lead to unwholesome actions and create unwholesome akusala kamma, bringing suffering to ourselves and others. We also try to become this or that. We want to be this or we want to be that, right? We plan to achieve this. And when we fail, become depressed or agitated. If we rush into activity, our mind keeps on moving forward, but our bodies lag behind, so that we cannot fulfill whatever we want to do. Then we forget that freedom means letting go. As the Buddha says, this is found in one of the suttas called the Baddhakarata Sutta in the Majjhima Nikaya. Let not one revive the past or on the future build his hopes. Instead, with insight, let him see each presently arisen state. That means what Buddha says is, try to live in the present. Life moves in one rhythm, that is want and desire. We are always looking for things, trying to acquire and never satisfied. We think happiness comes from having more and suffer because our wishes are never fulfilled. What we need to do is to practice deep mindfulness by choosing only what we really need. We can give away what we don't want, right? What is not necessary. Instead of longing and scheming to achieve our desires, we could see the wonders in our world. They are like miracles. The beautiful sunlight or the moonlight, the spreading foliage, the flowers, the soft grass, etc. All the beauty in the world. This would bring peace, happiness, and loving kindness into our lives. You could discover what's not friendly to your body and mind, like smoking and alcohol or drugs, and give them up. When there is peace and calm, our sorrows and unhappiness would be transformed. Be in the present, whether you are eating, drinking a glass of water, or meditating on the cushion. If we mindfully meditate, it could be like taking medicine to calm and bring joy and peace into your body and mind. It's important to look after ourselves by taking nourishing food, sleeping, exercising, and meditating. Lay life can be exhausting. For people, try to do many things at the same time. This multitasking takes away one's energy, calm, and equanimity, and leaves behind stress, agitation, unfulfillment, and despair. The old saying, I'm sure you would have heard this, one thing at a time, and that done well, is true even for the modern age. When one understands nutriment, the origin of nutriment, the cessation of nutriment, and the way leading to that cessation. Now, from where is that? That is the Noble Eightfold. The Four Noble Truths, right? What Buddha has given there, here it is given under nutriment. And in that way, she or he is of right view. Then she or he can abandon the underlying tendency to greed, aversion, and pull out by the root the view and conceit I am by abandoning ignorance and arousing true knowledge and make an end of suffering. Thank you. Now, if you have any questions, please ask. No questions? Okay, then we will. Is there any question?
Yeah. Thinking about our modern world today, our present world, I was wondering, why do you think that our modern world, we don't have more wise teachings in our modern world, like right now there's a war in Europe, and our governments, you know, they're not teaching us these wise teachings, and I was just wondering, why do you think that these powers in the world, the leaders and the governments, the powers of the world, why are they not teaching us these wise teachings that can help us not to suffer? Why are they creating more suffering, creating more weapons? Why are they not helping us to become more free and suffering less? The powers of the world, why?
Yes, I understand the question now. Now, Danny, there are many reasons for that. One, first of all, I will tell you the spiritual way of looking at it. Now, I told you that there are three characteristics that run the world. That is impermanence, suffering, and ignorance, right? Now, these three things are what makes us do things in the wrong way very often. So people, all people do not realize that there are these three things. So they take this body and mind to be self, to be mine. I am, you know, there is a, you know, very permanent self here. So therefore, what they want is, they want power, they want wealth, they want recognition, and so on. You know, all these things are there. So now you talked about leaders. Now, it's true, what you say is true, that they should come from the leaders. But then when the leaders are also having all these, especially delusion, you see, ignorance. Now, what ignorance of what? Ignorance of the fact that there is no self here, and also that these things that they are, you know, fighting for, that they are, you know, making others also so suffer so much by their by the wars and by their conflicts. They don't realize that because of that, they are also not going to be happy. And another thing is, now, even if they get the power that they want, they will not be satisfied. They will want more and more power, more and more wealth, more and more recognition, more and more, of the world. They don't realize that they are going to die one day and leave all this and go away, right? Are they able to take it and go? No. So what is necessary for us is, we cannot stop them because they are deluded, they are ignorant, or they may be leaders, they may be, very powerful, they may be very rich, everything, all those things may be true, but still they are deluded, ignorant of the fact that, that we know today, that is that there is no self here to, there is no self in the sense to please and to, acquire things and all those things. That doesn't mean that we should not have a house to live in, a car to go about, food to eat. All those things are necessary, but still we should not overdo these things. We should not have a great desire for food and for other things the way we normally do. So if we understand that actually we are going to die one day, these people don't understand. You see, they think that they are going to live forever. But actually what happens is, even the little time that they are living here in this world, they are not living properly, so that they only acquire what they have now. They might acquire power, they might acquire recognition, they might acquire wealth, all those things they might acquire. And when they leave this world, they will leave all those things, and also they will not have anything good to take with them. That is where the tragedy comes, you see, because they think that they have acquired a lot. In the end, they leave all those material things here, and then when they die, they go. They don't know where they are going, right? They don't know what will happen to them. You see, now if according to our belief, what we think is that it is the good or the bad that we do, the wholesome or the skillful actions that we do, and the unskillful actions, the unwholesome actions that we also commit. Those are the things that we take with us. So if we have more wholesome and more skillful actions to take with us, then we don't have to be scared. We don't have to be afraid that we will go to a bad place, right? So now the thing is, what we have to understand is we cannot change them. We cannot change them. Have you tried changing your own? Now, supposing someone is a married person, can you change your spouse? No. Even your own children, you cannot change. You can change, of course, when they are small, but once they are big, you cannot do that. They have to understand and change themselves. Only thing is, now if it is in a house, in your own family, you could leave books about, you could let them listen to good talks and good advice and so on, but it's up to them to change. So therefore, the little that we can do is to look after ourselves. Why Buddha says, Attayata no nato, koi nato parosya. What is the use of, if you cannot look after yourself, however much you may look after other people, it will be of no use. So therefore, what you have to do is to see that you don't do anything wrong. You don't do anything unwholesome. If the others do it, nothing can be done because it is up to them to know. So that is the answer that I could give you now. Any other questions? That was a very good question and a very appropriate one for the time, because we can see how in different parts of the world there are many, many conflicts, many wars going on, all because of this greed for and craving for power, for wealth, for recognition, for acquiring more and more things. You see, more and more, maybe, nations and countries, whatever it is.
I have a
Yes,
question.
Yes, Jan.
If craving is what causes suffering, is it bad to also crave enlightenment, crave to escape samsara? Is that a craving too? That's bad?
I didn't catch the last part. Can you please repeat it again?
Yeah. Is it if craving is what causes difficulties and pain, desire and craving, is it also bad to desire enlightenment?
Oh no, desire is called chanda in Pali, right? And this chanda and craving are two things. Desire can be, there are two sides to desire. One is the craving for material things, for what I have been now just a while ago, I was talking about the material things that people desire to acquire, to get more and more. That is what we call craving, greed, desire. Then there is another desire, now that we are all in the same path. We may be in different places in the path, the Noble Eightfold Path, right? We are all going in that path. So now that we are in the path, we may have developed certain good, wholesome qualities within us, like metta, karuna, mudita, upekka, that is loving kindness or loving friendliness. Then compassion or kindness, then altruistic joy, that is joy and happiness in the success of others, and then equanimity. Now, these are four qualities that are supposed, the Buddha said, are called Brahma Vihara. That means the Devas, the Brahmas, they are the ones who have these qualities. So when we practice these qualities, we acquire a little bit of it, right? Then we desire to have more of it. And then we practice more compassion, more altruistic joy, more metta, that is loving kindness, and so on. So that desire is not a bad one. Even the desire to attain enlightenment. After all, Buddha, when he was Siddhartha, what did he do? He left home, left everything and went. Why? Because he desired to find a way out of this suffering. Because not that he suffered. He had all the comforts, everything in life. But he could see others suffering. And also, he too knew that he would also come into aging, sickness, and death. So what he wanted was to find out a way out of this. And that was also desire. After all, that was desire. So there are good desires and bad desires. So it's not desire, chanda is not a bad thing. Any other questions? No more questions, right? Then I would ask you whether you would like to do a little bit of meditation, right? So please sit properly, that is with your back straight, the spine straight with the neck and the head, and with your hands, maybe on your lap or on the knees. Depends on whether you are cross-legged and sitting on a cushion or whether you are sitting on a chair. Then if you are sitting on a chair, place your legs, your feet on the ground so that you feel the ground, the hard ground, you can feel it. And if you have a proper posture, it will be easier for you to meditate for some time. Of course, we are not going to meditate for a long time, but anyway. So today I thought we could do, now that you have learned about nutrition, we would do a little meditation on nutrition. So please close your eyes now. Take a few deep breaths. Now I want you to do a little visual imagination. Now imagine that you are having in front of you, actually you're not having, but you are imagining that you have in front of you something that you like very much, maybe a vegetable, maybe a fruit, or maybe something like ice cream or a piece of cake, or something that you like very much. True, I told you just now not to have so many likings and dislikes, but anyway, normally we do like certain things, right? So take whatever you like. Imagine it's in front of you, maybe an apple or banana or mango or whatever you like. Now, now imagine that you are looking at this thing that you like in front of you. Maybe it's a fruit. I will just take it as a fruit, right? For simplicity. And now you are looking at it. And when you look at this fruit, you see the first thing that you perceive is its color, its shape. You look at that and then you see it and you like it so much, the way it is formed and the color and all that you like. So now you look at it. Then, even though it is in front of you, you can still smell it. And you like that odor too. Now you take it in your hand and you get the touch of it. Maybe it may be a soft touch or a warm touch or cool touch or a hard touch, whatever the touch, you feel the touch now. Contact, right? Now all this is contact. Seeing, smelling, and touching. Now you take it and then you take a bite of it. Now when you take a bite, you get the taste for it, taste of it and taste for it, right? So now you get the taste. And you have taken a bite, means you take it into your mouth. And now what has been an exterior thing, something external, has become internal, right? Now it becomes internal. That is, it is now part of you. Now you take it into your mouth and you start chewing. And when you chew it, there may be a slight sound so that you can hear. Now, all 5 senses have come into practice, have arisen, right? All 5 senses. And the mind is also there. So, now it is important to see what actually is happening there. Now, normally you would enjoy it, liking the taste and the aroma and, all the details of it. But now you are looking at it in a different way. You are looking at it for the sake of experimenting what you have heard just now. And you look at it and, feel it and taste it and smell it and all that. But still you see now after swallowing it, now all this time you saw something very beautiful and tasty and nice looking and all that and nice smelling. But now you swallow it. And when you swallow it, imagine the path of the little bit that you took into the mouth. Now it goes into the stomach, the abdomen. And there, what happens? It starts churning and it starts getting other juices. And what happens to this little bit of whatever food you took has gone in, and what happens to it? It changes. Can you see the impermanence of what you have already taken? Now you can see it for yourself. See it. In the sense you are seeing it in the same way that, that this is just a visual image. You are not actually taking anything, but you are imagining that you have taken. And when it goes inside, the element that is what you have taken in is also the 4 elements. And it goes into the 4 elements here. So when these elements outside go into the elements here, into the body, it starts changing. And does it change into something better? Imagine what it's like when it's chewed and swallowed, and it becomes like something softer and like jelly or something. Now the solidity has gone in it, and now it goes in. And now what? Is it smelling in the same way, or is it different? And now the body is taking in whatever it can from what you have put into the body, into the abdomen. Now the body absorbs what can be absorbed. And then what happens to the rest? There it is, the most repulsive element that you can think of, the excrement, that beautiful thing that we saw and put into our mouth. It has turned into something entirely repulsive there, and it goes out from the opening. And that is where the pain comes, suffering comes. So you can see the impermanence the suffering. So all this, did we do it? Did we change this? Did we absorb all that, was there anything like that? No, it's conditioned. That is why I say it's conditioned. The conditioned thing is again conditioned. So now the body has conditioned it, not with our, desire or want or wish, but it just, due to conditions, it happens. Once you put it in it, that is the way it is. And then you can see, that is why Buddha says, this has no self. We are not doing it. It just happens, right? If you look at all the things that we do and that we go, that happen in our life, you will see that there is no self here that is doing these things. It is due to cause and effect, cause and effect. Now close, slowly open your eyes. Did you go through an experience in nutrition? I hope it'll help you when you eat and when you drink.